The fluorescent lights buzzed softly in a quiet grocery store in Eugene, Oregon. It was one of those chilly evenings where the parking lot was nearly empty, save for a few cars scattered under the orange glow of street lamps. Michael Bennett, a 38-year-old single dad, stood at the checkout counter with a small basket of groceries: milk, bread, a box of macaroni for his daughter, Lily, who was clutching a bag of frozen blueberries like it was a treasure. At 7 years old, Lily had a knack for making ordinary moments feel special. The cashier, a young woman in her mid-20s, fumbled with the scanner. Her name tag read Clara. Michael noticed her hands trembling, not just a little shake, but the kind that hinted at something heavier, fear maybe, or exhaustion that went beyond a long shift. He watched her try to scan the milk, her fingers slipping, the barcode refusing to register. She muttered an apology, her voice barely above a whisper. "You all right?" Michael asked, his tone gentle but curious. He wasn't one to pry, but something about her unease tugged at him. Clara forced a smile, the kind that didn't reach her eyes. "Yeah, just long day." She tried the scanner again, her hands still unsteady. Michael wasn't buying it. He'd been a paramedic for over a decade before leaving the job to raise Lily alone after his wife's passing. He knew what distress looked like, the way it hid behind tight smiles and quick glances. Clara's eyes flicked toward the back of the store, where a small office with a glass window sat, then darted away just as fast. Lily, oblivious to the tension, piped up, "Are you nervous?" "My hands shake when I'm nervous, like before a spelling test." Her small voice was so earnest it almost broke the heavy air. Clara's lips twitched, a fleeting warmth crossing her face. "No, sweetie, I'm okay. Just a little chilly, maybe." Michael caught the lie but didn't push not yet. He didn't want to put her on the spot with other customers nearby. He paid for the groceries, thanked her, and started toward the exit with Lily skipping beside him. But something gnawed at him, a feeling he couldn't shake. Halfway to the door, he glanced back. Clara was leaning against the counter, her shoulders slumped, like she was carrying a weight too heavy for one person. Then he saw the store mat, burly guy with a clipped voice and a permanent frown stride out of the office and snapped something at her. Clara's posture stiffened, her hands gripping the counter's edge. That was it. Michael knew this wasn't about a long day. He turned to Lily. "Hey kiddo, let's hang out here for a sec." He guided her to a bench near the entrance, handing her his phone to play a game. Then he walked back to the counter, waiting until the last customer in line had left. "Clara," he said softly, keeping his voice low so Lily wouldn't hear. "I saw how you looked at that office, and I saw how you reacted when he came out. Something's not right, is it?" Clara's eyes widened, her fingers twisting the hem of her apron. It's nothing, really. I don't want to cause trouble." Michael leaned in just a fraction, his voice steady but kind. "I'm a dad. I've been through enough to know when someone's carrying something heavy. You don't have to tell me everything, but I'm not walking out of here if you're in trouble." Her gaze flickered to the office again, then back to him. For a moment, she looked like she might brush him off again, but then her shoulders sagged, and in a voice so quiet it was almost lost in the hum of the store, she said, "It's him. The manager. He makes me uncomfortable." Michael's stomach tightened. "Uncomfortable how?" Her voice cracked as she spoke. "Comments about how I look. Brushing against me when he passes by. Standing too close when no one's around. I told him to stop once, and he cut my shifts. Said I wasn't a team player." "How long?" Michael asked, his voice calm but firm. "For months," she whispered. "I can't lose this job. My car payment's late, and I'm already behind on bills." Michael glanced at Lily, who was giggling at something on his phone, blissfully unaware. He knew what it was like to feel trapped, to wake up every day fighting battles no one else could see. After his wife died, he'd faced months of grief and debt, feeling like the world was closing in. He wasn't about to let Clara face this alone. "Clara," he said, meeting her eyes, "you don't have to keep quiet about this, and you don't have to deal with it by yourself." Her eyes glistened with unshed tears. "If I say something, he'll make it worse." "I know he will." Michael nodded, understanding her fear. "I'm not going to do anything you're not okay with. But I'm also not going to let this slide. Let's figure out a way to make this stop together." Clara hesitated, her fingers trembling again, but something in Michael's steady presence, the quiet strength of a man who'd faced his own storms, made her nod. "Okay," she whispered. Michael didn't storm into the manager's office or make a scene. Instead, he asked Clara if she'd be okay with him staying while she called the company's HR line. He offered to drive Lily to his neighbor's house for an hour so he could focus on helping her. Clara agreed, her voice small but resolute. After dropping Lily off, Michael returned to the store. It was quieter now, the evening crowd thinning out. Clara was still at her register, her hands steadier but her face pale. They went to the employee break room, a cramped space with a vending machine and a flickering light. Michael stood by as Clara dialed HR, her voice shaking as she recounted the manager's behavior, the inappropriate comments, the unwanted touches, the retaliation when she spoke up. The HR representative listened, promised a thorough investigation, and told Clara she could take paid leave until the matter was resolved. As they left the break room, the manager spotted them, his eyes narrowed. "What's this about?" he demanded, his voice sharp. Clara froze. But then she straightened, her voice quieter than his, but stronger than before. "I reported you for everything." The manager's face reddened, his mouth opening to protest, but Michael stepped forward, his presence calm but unyielding. "She's not alone in this. And if you try to make things harder for her, you'll have more than HR to deal with." The manager stammered, his bravado crumbling. He turned and retreated to his office without another word. Clara exhaled, her breath shaky but relieved. "I can't believe I said that," she murmured. "You did," Michael said, a small smile breaking through, "and you were braver than you know." She looked at him, her eyes shining with gratitude. "Thank you for seeing me, for not walking away." Michael shrugged, his voice warm. "Sometimes, just asking if someone's okay can change everything." A few days later, Clara called Michael. The company had suspended the manager and offered her a transfer to another store with better hours. She sounded lighter, like a weight had lifted. When Michael picked up Lily from his neighbors later that day, she asked, "Daddy, did you help that lady at the store?" "Yeah, kiddo," he said, ruffling her hair. "Sometimes you've got to stand up for someone, even if it's scary." Lily nodded, her eyes serious. "I'm gonna do that too when I grow up." Michael smiled, his heart full. Kindness, he thought, didn't always need to be loud. Sometimes it was just a question, a moment of courage, a refusal to look the other way, and sometimes that was enough to change someone's world.